Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have a special recommendation video for you. Right now, we have the Star Wars TV show Andor, which is releasing. As I'm recording this, the first 3 episodes have released. As this releases, I think we're probably about midway through the season. And Andor is such a different type of Star Wars television series. In this show, we've got very slow pacing, we've got really rich ideas, really interesting themes about the rebellion versus the Empire. And so I decided that I was going to create a video that would be discussing some recommended book reading for you if you like Andor. Not everybody likes Andor, that's fine, but if you do like Andor, I have some recommendations for you, and I'll put the book on the screen when I talk about it. These are not necessarily all the exact same style as Andor, but I think that if you like what's happening in Andor, you probably will like what's happening in these books. In these books, 4 of the books are from the canon, and then I did have 1 book from Legends that I thought worked really well with it. So let's go ahead and talk about, if you like Andor, read these books. My first recommendation here is a new release. It is Star Wars Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear. There's this new trilogy called Reign of the Empire, which focuses on 3 characters, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera. And the 3 of them are the main characters in this trilogy, and the first book just released, The Mask of Fear by Alexander Freed. And this book trilogy fits perfectly with Andor, especially if you enjoy the Mon Mothma storyline from season 1. You will absolutely love this storyline. This book is set with only a few months after the events of Revenge of the Sith. It is about how Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera all have very different objectives and have very different styles. And Saw is just doing shock and awe and all this kind of rebel cell stuff, and Mon Mothma is trying to do things carefully in the Senate and try to handle things with care. And then you have Bail Organa, who is just angry about what's happened to the Jedi, and he's just on a vendetta to try to prove that the Jedi were innocent all along. And so the 3 of them are the main characters in this trilogy, and book 1 released back in February, and it fits very much with the themes of the political themes in Andor. So if you like that, you will probably enjoy this book. The second book on my recommendation list is Catalyst. Catalyst was a tie-in for Rogue One. It was actually titled Catalyst, a Rogue One story. And I read this when it came out in 2016. It came out about a month before Rogue One, and it adds not only so much to Rogue One, but it also works excellently with Andor. Andor involves a discussion of the building of the Death Star. In the new Season 2, you see exploration about how the Empire is getting the resources for building the Death Star. And the 2 main characters in Catalyst are Orson Krennic and Galen Erso. And his wife Lyra Erso is also very much present. And you see them from the Clone Wars to the very beginning of the Empire, how they worked on the Death Star, how Galen Erso became disillusioned with the Empire, and how he and Lyra escaped the Empire. And is a terrific example of media tie-in fiction. And in my honesty, it is, I think, the best example of how to write a tie-in story. It is not my favorite Star Wars book, but it's in the top, seriously. But it is the best example of a tie-in property. And Catalyst was just a fantastic tie-in to Rogue One, and it works great for Andor. There's another Rogue One tie-in that also fits perfectly with Andor, and that is Rebel Rising by Beth Revis. This is actually a YA novel, so it's geared towards a different audience, but don't let that stop you if you're an adult, because it still is an excellent story. In my opinion, one of the best YA novels produced for Star Wars. In this book, it focuses on the character of Jyn, who isn't, so far at least, in the show Andor. However, the themes it has about what the rebellion is, about how messy the rebellion can get, about how disparate the rebel factions can be, about why the rebellion is happening, what makes it so important, about giving nuance to the rebellion and nuance to the Empire. That's all great in here. And it also, like Andor, gets super dark. You think this is a YA book, which it is? it still gets super dark, darker even than Catalyst and Mask of Fear. This is a dark book, so I absolutely think that this, if you're enjoying Andor, you will also enjoy Rebel Rising. It's actually one of the few YA books that I would recommend to all readers. A fourth recommendation is the novel Bloodline by Claudia Gray. Now, this is the kind of oddball in the canon group that I'm talking about, because all these other books are set around the events of Rogue One, or of the Rise of the Empire era, the beginning of the Empire, whereas Bloodline takes place right before the sequels. And if you're like someone, I don't like the sequels, you don't have to like the sequels to be interested in this book. This book is about Leia becoming the first senator, and when she or trying to become the first senator, I should say. And this is like this new position that they're creating in the New Republic. But she recognizes that something is wrong, that there are remnants out there that the Republic is not dealing with, and so she goes on a mission to try to fact find, to try to see if she can find a way to stop these remnants. At the same time, you have another senator who represents the opposite faction in the New Republic, who's much more open to Imperial ideas, just didn't like the Imperial leadership. And this guy, Ransom Casterfoe, has to help Leia out, and they end up having to work together on this commission. And then the information about Leia's bloodline, i.e. who her parents are, gets revealed. And it's all heck goes loose. And it's a great example of political storytelling like Andor tells. So that's the oddball canon book. So I've talked about 4 canon books. There is a Legends novel that I also wanted to throw in because I think it fits thematically with what we're talking about. And this author, James Luceno, also wrote Catalyst, so it's a similar author, same author, similar style, and this book I'm going to recommend now is Cloak of Deception. This is a prequel era book. This is set really close, right before the events of the Phantom Menace, and this novel is about the Trade Federation roots. It is about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan having to go stop this dispute that's happening, trying to fact-find as well, and it's got great political ideas between Chancellor Valorum and Senator Palpatine and Senator Orn Freetop. All of them have excellent political dialogue in this book, and it's a very thought-provoking book in some ways. And so that is another James Luceno book that I think you will probably enjoy if you are a fan of Andor. So those are my 5 recommendations for fans of Andor. Of course, you may not like some of these, but I think that if you like Andor, you're more likely to enjoy these. And hopefully, if you've never read a Star Wars book, maybe one of these will be a good fit for you. So until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.